Hello Math 2 students. This is the lesson 1.6.3 triangle congruence. This is the notes lesson. We're going to be putting down some definitions and I'm going to be using my text tool with my microphone, and you can do the same thing. So what you could do is, as I use my text tool, you could use your text tool and hit your microphone and then hit play on the video, and what I say it should type in. So we're talking about congruent triangles, triangles that are the same shape and the same size. We could have triangles that are the same shape but different sizes. Those are called similar triangles. If they're congruent, though, they have to be the same shape and the same size. So what are congruent triangles? So we're going to put a definition in here. I'm going to use my text box and my microphone. Two triangles are congruent if and only if their corresponding parts are congruent. Hit my microphone again, and even though this is a sentence and it would have a capital T at the beginning, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so, and then they want us to draw an example. So I'm going to go get my shape tool and grab the triangle, and I'm going to do red again. And I'm just going to draw two triangles that are as close to the same size as I can get. And with the triangle tool, it's actually, you can kind of get it pretty close. So those are close. I think this one's bigger, but whatever. We're going to pretend that they're the same size. So there are, as far as the sides are concerned, what you would do is you would do your little tick marks like here and here. And then you might do 2 right there. And then 3 right here. So if that was a scalene triangle and all the sides were different on each triangle, as long as they are congruent to each other, that's fine. So if these sides are congruent and these triangles are like facing the same way, then you would have this angle and this angle would be congruent to each other. So what we might do is we might draw, I'll make this bigger. It'll be easier to see. What we might do is we might just do an arc, and then you might see 2 arcs like here, and then 3 arcs. And what that means is that those are congruent to each other. You might also see, and you don't have to draw this part, you might also see 1 little mark there, 2 there. You've seen me do that probably. It doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you can tell where the congruent parts are. Okay, and then write with math symbols what we would write. Let's call this triangle ABC. It's important that we name these the right way. So A, B, C, D, E, F. In other words, if I name the A first on the first triangle, I want to name the D first on the second triangle, because those 2 parts correspond to each other. So I'll show you. You would say triangle ABC is congruent to, and that's an equal with a squiggly over the top of it, triangle DEF. Now, what I wouldn't want to do is I wouldn't want to say triangle BAC and triangle DEF, because if I said BAC, what I would assume is that B is congruent to D, and it's not. Okay, B is not congruent to D on these 2 triangles. So I want to make sure that I name them that I put the points in the right order, the vertices in the right order. So let me erase this because this would be wrong. If I named, I'll just tell you, if I named triangle BAC, I would say that that is congruent to B corresponds to E. So E, A corresponds to D, D, and C corresponds to F. So I would have to name it like that. Either one of these would be correct. You just want to be sure that you don't mix these up. Okay, so we're going to do some more definitions. Side, side, side postulate. What this means is that if, as long as all 3 sides are congruent to each other, as long as the corresponding sides are congruent, then your triangles are congruent. So here's how we're going to define this. I'm going to use my text tool again. And microphone. If the sides of one triangle are congruent to the sides of the second triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Okay, so I need to make this so it fits in here. And then draw an example. Okay, so I get my triangle tool. And you know what? You don't have to draw these so that they're like facing the same direction every time. It's just easier with the triangle tool. I get that one bigger every time. It's easier with the triangle tool to do that. So get my drawing tool and mark the corresponding sides. I'll do different colors. And let's do pink. So as long as you got the sides of this triangle congruent to the sides of this triangle, you don't have to look at the angles really. They're congruent. The triangles are congruent. Now, conversely, if you have two triangles, and you don't have to draw this or anything, but let me just show you what I mean. Let's say you have two triangles, and like here's one, here's another. The angles could be congruent in these two triangles. Like this angle and this angle could be congruent. This one and this one are congruent. And then this one, it's kind of hard to get 3 on there, is congruent to this one. These two triangles are not congruent, obviously. So angle congruency in triangles does not mean that the two triangles are the same size, okay? The angles are the same size, the angles are the same measure, but the sides don't necessarily have to be. So this doesn't apply to just angle. There's no angle postulate, okay? So I'm gonna, let's see, I'll just mark these out. I'll just go, nope, these aren't congruent, okay? All right, the next one, side, angle, side. All right, let me see if I'm, okay, there's my text box, microphone, here we go. If two sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to two sides and the included angle of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Okay, make it fit. There we go. Draw an example. All right, so you can have where there is an angle feature where you can have an angle that's congruent and look at it that way, but you can't do, there, like I said, there's no angle. Okay. Okay, so what does this look like? My triangle tool again. Just draw something different size here. See if I can duplicate that. That's pretty close. Okay, so side, angle, side. Here's what that means. So if I have a side, oh, triangle tool, hang on, undo, drawing tool. If I have a side congruent and another side congruent on these two triangles, and the included angle, what that means is the angle that these two sides make up. So this angle right here and this one right here. So those two triangles are congruent if I have two sides that are congruent and an angle. So I don't need to know about this third side as long as I know side, angle, side. All right, angle, side, angle postulate. I bet you can guess what that one is already. Define. Text box, microphone. If two angles and the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the included side of another triangle, the triangles are congruent. Not type microphone. I didn't realize I had hit it before I said that. Okay, there we go. All right, draw an example. You know what? I'm wondering something. If I can choose that, oh, yes, I can copy. Then I can come down here. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me try that again. Copy, paste. There we go. And then I can move it where I want it. And I wonder if I can erase. If I can erase like the blue. Oh no, it erases everything. Wait. Let me try something else. Drawings and shapes. I think it still erases everything. Oh, no it doesn't. Okay. Yes it does. Well, that was a waste of time. Oh well, it was worth a try. All right, draw two triangles. close. Okay. Angle, side, angle. Angle. I did it again. Keep forgetting. Angle, congruent angles. Okay. Congruent sides. And these two are congruent. Angle, side, angle. These two triangles are congruent. If you can show that two angles and the included side, okay, of those two angles. So let me show you something. If you had, let me get a green. If you had, instead of the blue side being marked, and if it was like this one right here being marked, that would not prove that those two triangles are congruent. It's got to be the side that's in between the two angles, showing you that it's congruent. So an outside side doesn't mean anything. All right, last one. Angle, angle, side. Actually, what I just told you isn't true, but it doesn't apply to that postulate. I'm going to undo those. Okay. Angle, angle, side. Text box, microphone. If two angles and a non-included side of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding two angles inside of the second triangle, the two triangles are congruent. Okay. It's kind of like what I was talking about up here when I was telling you that doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to that postulate, but it is true that they're congruent. So let's look at what that looks like. Close enough. Okay, two angles. One angle, two angles, that one and that one. And then if it's not the side that's in between the two angles, but it's a different side, it doesn't matter which side, honestly, that one and that one, those two triangles are congruent. Let's put a congruent symbol between these. So these two are congruent. These two are congruent. We didn't name them, but we don't have to. We named the ones in the top section. All right, that's it. 13 minutes. Awesome. All right, so I'll see you in the live lesson for classwork.